2/3 innings. That's mighty strong. He'll be opposed by a right-hander and Chris Oliver, who just like that record as he scored big numbers in 2.41 ERA and opponent's batting average in 228. He's only allowed 29 hits in 37 1/3 innings. It is going to be a packed house here at Ball Stadium. Arkansas number 3 in the nation. Mid-average attendance. South Carolina by comparison a couple of hundred. Paid fans per game behind. Number 4 nationally. South Carolina has played it, accompanied by tremendous atmospheres and tremendous home field advantages. Now they'll have to fight through one here, and they hope to run their record at 8-4 in the SEC and solidify themselves in first place in the division. Still to come on the On Deck Show, we'll get the exclusive pregame thoughts of head coach Chad Holbrook. And I mean, with their pitching staff, and typically that's how it goes. So we're going to get the first guy out in the inning, and work ahead. Work ahead in the count, not fall behind in their house. I think they'll strike one in there and gets his last big pitches over. He'll be fine. If he doesn't, we'll be going uphill again. All right, Coach, go get him. Thank you. Thanks, Andy. That is Chad Holbrook. That is the On Deck Show on the Gamecock Sports Network.
When it's time for family fun on the water, Big Carolina Marine and Sea Hunt Boats are the winning team. Built within shouting distance of Carolina Stadium, Sea Hunt Boats are the nation's #1 selling family fishing boat and continue to dominate the market with cutting-edge design, quality, and affordability, serving the Midlands family.
All right, everybody. Greetings once again. Back at you with another edition of Rasslin with Redbeard. Get my camera up here. I'm gonna make this intro a little bit quicker than I did the one before because I almost thought my camera's gonna fall there. Getting a little bit later to the venue than I thought I was going to, but I'm here in Orangeburg, South Carolina for Champions with Attitudes Pro Wrestling. They refer to their events as Saturday Night Mayhem. They don't have a naming convention per se. They're not like some other promotions where they want to call it one thing one month and one thing a different month. But at any rate, this is the first CWA show that I've been to in a number of years. The last one that I went to was is at least 2 years ago. They had a event in the same building. It's the National Guard Armory in Orangeburg, South Carolina. One of the main events was Shelton Benjamin, who was from Orangeburg. I don't think associate too much with it anymore, but he was born here, against a wrestler by the name of Ken Magnum, which I think Ken is still with CWA, but regardless, this is the first time I've been to one of their shows in quite some time. I'm interested to see how this pans out here this evening. They usually draw pretty big crowds. Not sure who's going to be on the card, though, because this is a pretty busy weekend in terms of wrestling, not only because of the fact that you've got WrestleMania going on tomorrow night, but also you've got a number of the more well-known talents in this area booked in different locations. For one, you've got another promotion in the upstate, Trans-South Wrestling, running, I think it's their 4th or 5th anniversary possibly show up there. They got a big card. Then you've also, of course, got WrestleMania tomorrow, and a lot of the bigger name talent that we have in this area are in New Orleans for various functions. And then you've got the Super 8 up in Delaware, which I know BJ Hancock, John Schuyler, and Stephen Walters are all on their way up there, because I saw a couple of Facebook posts and Twitter posts from Franklin Dove and a few other guys chronicling their trip up to that part of the world. But I'm not sure what talent's going to be on the card here. I know they've got a couple of regulars in the form of guys like Joey Nuggs and Timber. Lodi comes here a lot, Lodi, the old, I should say old. It's going to make him sound like he's ancient, but the old guy who was in WCW with Ravens Flock and whatnot. Lodi's in great shape, though. Age is nothing but a number to that guy. He puts on some remarkable matches for somebody who's got the miles that he does. But it's going to be an interesting program here. I'm interested to see how things pan out, not only with the quality of the show, but also just the fan reactions and the whole 9 yards here. So don't have any type of information to give you for the card, unfortunately. We're just going to wing this one, because I wasn't really even planning on coming to a show here this evening. Wound up that my wife and my mom are going to a ballet performance here in Orangeburg, and just by virtue of them being over here, I decided, what the heck, let's go to a show. It's in town, might as well. So here I am. Like I mentioned, this is a National Guard Armory. Not exactly the most lavish of venues, but it's very serviceable for something like this. So there's no complaints there. I think I better go ahead and get in the venue because it's starting to get kind of stacked out here in terms of the crowd. But at any rate, this is Orangeburg. I used to live here. It's a rural community. It's good old traditional wrestling fans. You're not going to get much more grassroots wrestling than this. So, from what I've seen, the ticket price here is a little steep compared to what I'm used to paying. Like, for example, the last show that I covered was WrestleForce, and their ticket was $12 a day of show. I'm not sure, but this one may be as high as like 18. It's 15 or 18 bucks for certain types of tickets, because they here at CWA, I think they separate their tickets into ringside and what they call floor, even though it's all technically floor because there's not a second level to the building. But that's how they break it down anyway in terms of the price differences. But I think it may be close to 20 bucks. So we'll see. And I'll let you know at the intermission report there what the actual cost was. Don't know if I'll have any guests on this particular program. K-Dog and Billy were great to be on the program last week. Looking forward to doing more stuff with them in the future. But like I say, since I haven't been here in so long, I don't really know who I'm going to see. So we'll see how that works out. But I'm going to head on inside, see if I can find a seat. Catch you guys at intermission. This is Rasslin with Redbeard, number 2, April 5th, 2014, CWA Champions with Attitudes, Saturday Night Mayhem. Here we go.
I love it. You guys are rowdy already. That means we've got a good night ahead of us. Welcome to the biggest wrestling weekend of the year, and welcome to CWA! My name is Brett Wilbert, and I am proud to be your host tonight for this tremendous night of CWA action. We've got a great night for you, so before we get things started, I have our additional announcements to make. First off, CWA would like to thank
back out here in the parking lot doing my intermission report. We got 2 matches left. It's been a pretty interesting evening here. We've got some talent that I haven't seen before, so that's been good. Had a number of guys that I've never seen before at all. We had, I'm trying to remember their names now. Hot Mess Tony Stigma, I think he called himself. Then we had, let's see, 2 guys that were, I'm assuming, from way out of town. There was one guy who called himself Dr. William Fixit. He had the gimmick of a motivational speaker type. But of course, he was a heel, though, so he had that going for him. Then there was a guy that was in that match that he was facing. I think he called himself Unstable Tony Jacobs or Unstable Jacob Stark. I couldn't remember his actual name. I thought the graphic on the screen at first said Unstoppable, so I was expecting some big, huge guy to come out of there, but it was a dude who looked unstable, fittingly enough. Had a lot of regular talent on here, too. One guy that I hadn't seen in a while, not since last year when I went to a show in Myrtle Beach, Stephen Hunter. He's a good-looking kid. Brady Pierce was here. Had Billy Brash. One thing that apparently happens a lot at CWA shows, at least from what I gather from watching this one, is the fact that they throw a lot of stuff out in the crowd. The problem with that is that I'm going to try and include it in the video here, but there's a t-shirt that got thrown out in the crowd, and several kids around me dang near got into a knockdown, drag-out brawl over the thing. That was pretty interesting. A little scary, but there are a lot of children here. It's a great thing. It's always good to have wrestling for the kids, but at the same time, parents, please supervise your children. For the love of God. I'm not a parent, not yet, but please supervise your children. Don't let them go nuts out here. Don't let them run wild. That's the worst thing you could do. It's a bad scene when that happens. But at any rate, had a little bit of everything here this evening. Had a 6-man tag. A lot of strong action here. One thing I'll point out in the last match that we just saw was Ken Magnum versus Jay Batista. And I've been around wrestling for a long time, and I will never in my life forget what liquid heat smells like. And the arena was full of liquid heat during that match. It's a substance that they rub on their bodies to help their muscles pop, and it's kind of like a massage oil type thing. It's got a very distinct odor. If you've ever smelled it, you know what it smells like, and that arena was full of liquid heat during that match. I just thought that was a funny thing there. But in regard to the arena here, I'd say they probably have sold in the area of between 250 and 300 here this evening, and that's great. I think it's pretty consistent for them. Ticket was $10 for my general admission seat. They had some that were $15, I think, on top of that for ringside, as they call it. But I think that's first or second row. I didn't really see the need for that because I didn't want to put that much money into it. I'm going to start wrapping this up because I'm out here in the middle of a field, technically. This is the parking lot. But I'm out here in a field, and there are plenty of mosquitoes out here. Yeah, I'm getting chewed on as we speak, so I'm going to head on inside. But been pretty impressed here so far. It's a good night of action. Got to see some new faces, got to see some people I haven't seen in a while, like I mentioned there. So all in all, not a bad night. Then we got 2 matches here left, so whenever things are said and done, I'll come back out and we'll do a wrap-up. Appreciate you joining me again. Rasslin Redbeard number 2.
Great trade.
Move, Buster, come this way. Shall we?
Number 40.
Yeah. I always was going to come back.
You've been coming here longer than I have. I trust you.
I'm trying to get home.
This next drawing is for a two-piece chicken basket from Vinny Banquet. I'm looking for program number 22. Good night, have a safe trip home, and enjoy the rest of your WrestleMania weekend.
Dad, I made it all the way over here so far. We gotta go to this one.
There you go.
It's all right. We'll wrap on CWA Saturday Night Mayhem, April 5th, 2014. Excuse me, I'm going to try and get my camera to cooperate here. All in all, decent show. Can't say as there was a whole lot to really clamor about in terms of the action here. It was not bad, just not anything that was, unique or whatnot. It's basic, but it gets the job done. I try not to badmouth anybody on here, but there just wasn't really anything that excited me so much that I wanted to come back immediately to another one of these shows. There's a couple of exciting announcements, though, in terms of talent that they're going to be bringing in. The Tokyo Monster Kahagas is going to be here next month. They were teasing the debut of a guy who I don't think anybody in the crowd knew who he was, but I knew Chance Prophet immediately when I saw him. They're teasing him for some type of a feud with Johnny Flex, who is now Mr. Hardcore Johnny Flex. Talk about a guy who's been through a lot of gimmicks in his lifetime. Like I say, it was a pretty good show. Not great, not bad, somewhere in the middle there. Big crowd. I'm sure they made some money here this evening off of, if nothing else, the concession sales. Two of the overwhelming memories I have from this particular event both involve children. I know I've said previously that I watched a couple of kids fight over a t-shirt that got thrown into the crowd by one of the wrestlers, but I will say this: there are a lot of unruly kids at this show. I mean, a lot of unruly kids. And I saw two get into a shoving match here on my way out. And it's not uncommon for kids to fight, but I just think you got a couple of examples in here this evening of parents not doing their jobs, but that's one of the prevailing memories I'll have. The other one, there's a wrestler who is called the Salem Center 6. Big guy, that's kind of a masked Undertaker type thing going. You know, he's one of those dark forces or whatever. Talented dude, big guy like I mentioned, but here he gets over as a good guy. And it's amazing because if you look at him, he's not traditionally the type who would ever be seen as a good guy. He's got, you know, kind of evil skull-shaped mask, long black dreads, evil kind of colors and whatnot. But the crowd loves him. And here again, you have children who are reacting positively towards this guy. And the memory that I'll have is of the kids chanting 66666. And in my mind, I can't help but make fun of that because of the fact that I think of something like a Stephen King movie where you've got, you know, children who can be creepy when applied in the right methods. You know, if you had a group of kids saying 666, 666, 666. Not only that, but then you have the prospect of somebody like, you know, a hardcore conservative pastor or whatnot seeing something like that and thinking, oh, well, what is that promotion telling their children? So I'm going to wrap this up here now as I'm running low on battery life. But at any rate, that's your ball game there, folks. We'll see you down the road at the next show. For now, that's number 2 of Rasslin with Redbeard. See ya.